G'day everybody and welcome to another Quad's Eye View where I give you guys my reactions and thoughts on a topic of the moment. So today we're going a little bit differently. I'm actually looking at an article, but it is from what's probably the best way of putting it? It's from a genre or the area that I haven't done before. So I've actually picked this article up from the Performing Arts Hub of Australia, and it is by a lady called Fleur Kilpatrick. Now, I am not the most cultured person in the world. With my work doesn't leave me with much time to actually look at the fringe side of art culture. But Fleur Kilpatrick, I looked her up quickly, and award-winning playwright, director, and educator. Which is great, and she is obviously very heavily involved in the arts area. So, let's see what she has to say. The article itself is what the pandemic has taught us about disability and what we still have to learn. If non-disabled artists listen to those with chronic illness and disabilities, we may yet rebuild as a kinder, more robust arts industry that is ready for anything and anyone. I like it. So, let's see what Fleur has to say. Wow, first couple of lines, really powerful, and I absolutely love it. I love that she has come to this realisation. In the last year, our industry experienced a crash course in living at the mercy of disease. We've all learnt about resilience, adaptability, and living without planning too far ahead, making, cancelling, and reimagining art at the whims of illness. These are all things that many of our colleagues with chronic health conditions and disabilities have known for years. Welcome to our world. No, look, it is true. And it's a really interesting way of putting it. So, and she goes on to talk about how it is time to start reflecting on what we've learned and what we still have to learn, especially now as the COVID vaccine starts to enter the arms of Australians. And it's true. There are things that have happened during this pandemic that I really hope we don't lose. Okay? For example, the use of video conferencing. Okay? Being able to work remotely, being more flexible with it. Leaving enough room between the chairs in a waiting room so the wheelchairs have got somewhere to park as well. One of the silver linings that I've found of COVID, but so they go on to talk about, and they're quoting a lady. Oh God, I hope I get this right. Yasmin Sabuncu. Yasmin identifies as having a chronic illness. Great, that is really good that they're actually using the thoughts and words, that Fleur has actually gone to the effort of using the thoughts and words of somebody within that. And what she goes on to say is that for many people with chronic illnesses or disability, that they said that the last 12 months of the pandemic, this quote's perfect. It was so frustrating to watch all these non-disabled people in theatre companies struggle to adapt to COVID when I and so many of my disabled colleagues had ideas we have already tried and tested and worked with. We have the skills and ways of working already if they would just listen. Non-disabled folks are just playing catch-up. And it's really true. There were so many pitfalls that I saw different businesses and local governments fall into, that had they listened to people who've been in similar situations before, could have been avoided. And unfortunately, it happens way too often where people when creating or trying a new idea or adapting to a new circumstance, don't take a moment to have a look at those who have come before. Look, the similarity, and one thing that many disabled and that we deal with as a disabled community is the sensation of lost time. Sometimes things go wrong and you end up in what feels like a holding pattern where you're just waiting for things to get better. And it's, it's really hard, and you need to make the most of the good days, those windows of opportunity. And you get to a point where rather than waiting for things to get better, you start to ask yourself, what if this is as good as I get? And can I be okay with that? And it's about being nimble and being able to work on your feet. And when you live this life, that uncertainty, you develop ways of doing it. And these are lessons that people can learn and take on in the future to be able to go, right, sometimes, unfortunately, shit happens. And when it does, let's have a way to deal with it. Let's figure out a way to deal with it. And it's so true in the business community as well, like they go on here to say that, just as artists and venues now must learn to hold plans lightly and create work that can adjust for audience capacity, new health guidelines, or sudden shifts to online. It's so true. As a business as well, we need to completely think about how any new product we create needs to be able to be easily converted at any point in time. We need to be ready for anything. Make sure that we can shift from the office to the bed or to the bedroom. And these are things that, as a disabled person, I've been doing for years anyway. There have been times when I have been restricted to bed for months on end because of pressure areas or because I've needed to have an operation of some sort, or, and having to adjust to that way of doing things, and this pandemic has been shit for so many reasons. But in any crisis, there exists opportunity. There always exists the opportunity to learn. There always exists the opportunity to be able to better ourselves. And I think that we need to make sure that this 12 to 15 months of panic and uncertainty, that we need to look at it for the lessons that we learned and not forget them. Because it is a situation that we hope will never come about again. But as we've learnt, nothing is certain in life. So, look, Fleur, I think you wrote it beautifully. I think this is a great article. And the last quote I love the best. Liz Jackson, the creator of the Disabled List, says, "Disabled people are the original life hackers. As we rebuild and reimagine, we need to continue learning from the last 12 months and listen to the deep knowledge of those who are already way ahead of us." Until next time, guys, look after yourselves, look after each other, and stay safe.